Torre, trombonist, composer, and master of, get ready, the seashells. That's right, they are his favorite instrument with Rainbow People. This is the title track of his 2008 album, Rainbow People. This is Leid Stories. I'm Utrice Leid. And what do you know? It's not crowded enough in the Democratic presidential field of candidates. So add one more, Deval Patrick, former governor of Massachusetts, to the list. He's running, and I promise you, things are going to go a little bit crazy with this announcement that he's running. But I can't wait to see how he is received and what the effect is of his declaration as a candidate for office in the 2020 election. That's quite exciting, actually. Very exciting. And it's about time because this, I don't know what's going on with the Democratic Party. They seem to be tired. I mean, specifically Joe Biden, who was said not too long ago to be one of the leaders of the pack, but coming across very tired. And the candidates themselves are not exciting. They're not getting the attention that they should from would-be voters because they all sound the same. So it was with great expectation, and I was very happy to know, not that there was another candidate running in this race, but that there was a candidate who I believe will shake things up and who has the best chance of invigorating a campaign that is causing us to yawn. I mean, what are you doing? What do you stand for? Who are you talking to? Who is talking back to you? And late yesterday, got word that he has confirmed with very close friends. I'm sure Barack Obama is one of them, very close friends, that he's seriously considering running. And overnight, of course, we know it to be a real declaration. He is in the race, and I'm looking forward to the race now. I was fed up with the Democrats and the Republicans. I couldn't imagine why we're seeing so much, I don't know, things are not moving. And if they are moving, they're not moving right. They're not exciting people. They're not even talking to people, some of them. And yet that's what the race is all about. And it is for that one thing I am happy today. I feel a lot better than the last time I talked with you, saying how angry I was. And it really was about where things are politically. But Deval Patrick, I think, would shake things up. And even though he's starting late, he knows that more than anybody else. He's starting late. But I believe that he will excite this race so much. He will cause people to really reassess their political choices and their political thinking. And if a candidate could do that, well, that's half the race won. People are getting tired. The candidates are getting tired. They're saying the same things. They're not going after new people. They're not really engaging. And I'm painting with a broad brush because I believe Sanders is an exception. I believe that Warren is an exception in this regard, that they're really animated about their candidacies and about what the race ought to be about, bringing more people into the fold, paying attention to their concerns, and responding with some kind of a plan or a way of addressing them, and making a concerted effort to move outside of the traditional landscape of the Democratic Party and connecting with new audiences. This is what is very different about Bernie's campaign and about Elizabeth Warren's campaign. But Deval Patrick is that times 10 in the sense of understanding what an exciting campaign could be. And that is getting out of your comfort zone and really making an effort to make contact with people on their terms. What it is they want, what it is they need, what it is they can do, and what the party can help them do together. This party, this is one of the major criticisms I've had of Nancy Pelosi. This party has become, I don't know, it's as if they don't understand how politics works. Good old-fashioned politicking, good old-fashioned electioneering. And I mentioned it because it remained prominent in this recent development that we had with the movement of the trials and the hearings out from behind closed doors, and now they're up front and out in the open, and they still are not talking to people. They're going ahead as if these are two different worlds. It's their world because they're talking about the fine points of what constitutes an infringement of the law, or how the president or the president's people, how they are disregarding the form of the law and so forth. Nobody is interested in that part. What is clear is that there's a yawning gap, and it's as if these folks are in a whole different world, and they intend to stay there. They don't intend to come down off of their mountaintop and really interact with people. They don't see a need to do that. So this is why Deval Patrick's announcement could be, I'm saying could be, I'm still hedging my bets, although I think it is an exciting change in the political scene, very, very exciting, that he should declare. Now, I think he is committed to running the course, and he has particular ideas. But the most important thing that he has expressed so far, in fact, I'm going to ask you to identify what could be his greatest asset in this race? Let's start there. What is the one thing that Deval Patrick could do to start off really strongly? What do you think? Again, we should look at this as a very good development, a very positive development. He knows he has a steep hill to climb. He knows he has to go after money big time. He's got to find donors, and he's got to find sponsors, and he's got to find people who will financially support his run. He knows all of that. But I'm going back to his term of office as governor in Massachusetts, when nobody expected that he would come on so strong and win. Nobody expected that. So, could you think of one thing he's likely to do in running for president that will work strongly in his favor in seeking the presidency? What can he do, or what will he have to do to prevail? He's got stiff competition. He's got people who are well-funded. He's got people who have had time to their advantage. He's coming in late. But he's up to it, he says. So what do you think Deval Patrick can do to turn his political fortunes around as he starts out? 888-874-4888. Let me make this really clear. I'm excited about his entrance into the race. I'm very excited about that. But I am not pledging my troth to Deval Patrick. That's his job. He has got to do that. I'm saying that this is a fortuitous development in giving energy to this race. And hopefully he can repeat the excitement of his race when he ran for governor of Massachusetts, and nobody thought it was possible that he would win. I get excited about these things. But don't peg me as an acolyte. I am not. But I am very excited about this change, this turn of events, is to add new dimension to this race, which is, in my view, it was suffering. It was just, oh God, everybody's getting tired. Everybody's sounding tired. Is there no way to shake these blues off? So 888-874-4888, that's where we'll start today. What do you think is part of a magic formula? And the same thing with Bloomberg. Bloomberg is starting late. What is it that they've got to do to get a leg up in this contest that they say they will be running? You have any ideas? Let's share you at 888-874-4888. Jay from New York, you're on the air.
Yes, Patrice. How are you today? I hope all is well. Um,
I'm okay. I've been in a better
I'm
mood
sitting
today.
here. I'm sitting here in absolutely amazement and surprised by you saying that you elated and happy by this, because I don't know what you elated and happy about by him coming in to the race. There's nothing. I mean, is he special? Does he
Yes,
present something that
he's
others
very
haven't
special.
presented? I'd like to know what it is, because I don't.
Well, he already proved how specially he is by becoming the governor of the state of Massachusetts
And that's based on the fact
in a
that it's
race that
90%
was
white.
already laid out. He was not supposed to even come close to winning, but he did it.
And that's let's start from square one. Is that because Massachusetts is 90% white and he was
No,
able
no, no,
to?
no, no, don't go there. It's because he ran a relevant and valid campaign. And because, well, I won't give you the answer because that's what I'm asking the question to get the answer. So don't tempt me to give you the answer. But that's
Well,
what
I
made
need
it
to. I need
special.
other, because I don't know what's special about him. He doesn't, in my eyes, and maybe some of your other callers could tell me, or tell the audience what's special about him. But I don't know what's special about him. He don't
Well,
seem
you don't,
special to
let
me.
me stop you right now. You don't know what's special about him, but
There
that's
you
not
go.
what you're saying. What you're saying is you don't intend to know what's special about him. I
That's
could
not
talk
true.
all and preach all
That's
right
not.
now,
That's not
and you
true.
will still say, I don't know what's special about him. Go do
No,
some
that's not
research.
true. Don't do that. Don't do that, Utrice, because I just said to you, I'm going to listen to the other members of your audience, and
Yeah, but that's the
hopefully
easy way
Ali and
out.
the rest of them
What you
could
should
say what's
do, what
special
you
about
should
them.
do is go and read about
No,
the race for
he's not.
governor of the state of
He's
Massachusetts. Go read
and what
about it.
I'm saying to and what I'm saying to you is, I have no interest in him. I think he's a puppet. So the thing is, I want someone that calls up and makes me think that maybe he's not a puppet, and then I'll go and maybe do
Well,
the
how,
research on him.
why
But
do
there's
you
nothing
come
special to
to the
me about him.
conclusion with such certainty that you're right? He's a puppet. Based on what?
Based on why it's
Based
taking
on
him
what
so long
facts?
to now come into the race, when he said months ago that
Uh,
he wasn't going to be part of the race. What has
so
changed so much?
he's not allowed
You
to
know,
change
you
his
he.
mind?
I mean, think about it. He's coming after someone from his own state. Isn't Elizabeth Warren from his state? Isn't she the senator of Massachusetts?
Is she from Massachusetts? I think
I'm
so.
not. I'm not
Yes.
sure. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
But think
I'll look it
about
up.
that. Why would you come into a race when it seems like your colleague, someone who's an ally of yours, is now
Since when
moving
are there
forward?
rules? If you felt as a candidate that you definitely could win, it's the same with Bloomberg. He feels uniquely qualified to win this
But
race,
Bloomberg has
and
his own money.
he should
Bloomberg
have
has
the
his own
opportunity
money,
to
and
put it to the
Bloomberg's not
test.
in a
I don't know that there are
situation like
rules
he is
where
that he got to
you
go find
can't.
money.
You, I don't know that there are rules that because such
Yeah,
and such a person is already running, I can't run. If I
yeah,
believe
but
I have greater skills, greater experience, a greater sense of what politics is all about, and I see myself as having a good shot, why should I deny myself the opportunity of running simply because of some newfangled idea, some strange kind of rule, some twisted kind of etiquette that because person A is out there also running, I should defer to that person?
let me let
That's
me ask you
crazy.
this, Utrice. Where is he going to get his money from? Where's
That's up
his
to him
money
to
back is
figure
going to
out.
be?
I'm not interested in where his money is coming from. He's got to figure that out. And he says that he knows that. He's got to figure out where his money is coming from. But we are placing before the guy even gets out of the his pen to start running, you already have nothing but negative things to say. You've consigned him to defeat even before he starts. And
Hey,
what's
listen,
worse,
Dutrice.
you
All I'm going to
absolutely
do now, all I'm going to do now is hang up the phone and listen to your wise callers and call up and see if any of them could convince me to go on the internet and do some research on them, and I'll get
no,
back to
don't wait
you
for that. Don't wait
tomorrow
for
and
that
let you
because
know.
you're not entitled to demand that people educate you. You got to go educate yourself, and that's what
Not
you
on
ought
this,
to
not
do.
on this subject matter. I'm sorry to tell you, I got better things to do than
Then
to
go
educate
do your
myself
better things.
on
Go do
Deval
your
Patrick.
better things, but don't believe. And it is it's kind of misplaced for you to say something like that. I will wait until somebody tells me something. Oh, I mean, really? No,
On
wrong
on this
attitude.
matter,
Wrong
on this
attitude.
matter, I will. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good day, sis.
Okay, Bill from Brooklyn, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, you trees, and to the audience.
You you can
Uh,
tell I'm feeling
well,
better today.
yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, Mr. Patrick is special. I don't necessarily like him as a candidate, but he does have a right to pursue this, his hope of running for president. Uh, what he brings, I think, is he's like a grenade that's gone off in the room, of corpses, and is waking everybody up. And
Hmm.
so I think folks will now have to get really on their A game. And there's a spark of fire that's been put under people and might reinvigorate some to really step up and come out with some original ideas that really need to be heard, which maybe they've been thinking about, but haven't really wanted to expose so much. What Mr. Patrick brings is he's a successful candidate or a governor in Massachusetts, and what he brought to Massachusetts was pretty much universal health care, if I'm correct, and that's been a major success there. And so that is something which is a major accomplishment, and which, if he chooses to highlight that, might generate some strong interest broadly. It could, however, be an albatross around his neck because that's one of the things that kind of brought Obama down somewhat to this very day. People are going after his Affordable Care Act, but I think it's a good thing. It's got everybody talking, and we'll see what pans out if he's got the right stuff. I don't think so, but I think he's good for the race.
I think so too. He has invigorated the race. Now,
Yes.
that doesn't guarantee that he'll win, but you got to give him some credit. He's got guts for doing it in the same way that Bloomberg uh, decided that he will run. But you see, he had the advantage of money.
Yes.
And rich people that wealthy, can do whatever they want to do. They
Hmm.
don't see impediments because in their lives they haven't had any.
Exactly.
But
And the
Deval
network of
Patrick
people that
comes
he's
from the
connected
south
with.
side of Chicago, where he was born. He understands impediments.
Hmm.
And if he's willing to run, uh, why not? Let me ask you though, what do you think, starting out, what do you think one of his greatest advantages will be as a candidate?
That's a tough one because uh, I think aside from being the grenade going off in the room of corpses, uh, I still would hang my hat on his success in Massachusetts as governor and with the health care there. That's really sort of an underlying major thing that really hasn't been exposed as a real hot topic, right now broadly in terms of what people are really focused on. But it impacts everyone on some level, and I think that that monster, for lack of better words, meaning healthcare in U.S. is going to be reinvigorated somewhat. So that's kind of what my thinking is.
Okay. Close, but no cigar.
Okay. Thank you.
Close, but I'm looking more for how do you expect he will make connections with people to support him? What will he be doing very differently? And this is why people are so nervous. He's going to do something that practically, I would just say one or two have really set out to do in their respective campaigns. What do you think it is?
I think what he must do, and what he probably will do, is to very aggressively go to find and connect with the base of the Democratic Party. Those folks on all stratas that are kind of the ignored, that really haven't, except for maybe a Warren or Sanders, the candidates have not really gone out face to face with everyday people and across all spectrums.
Amen. Amen. Have I not been complaining about this?
Yes, you have.
This is where he sees his salvation. Connecting or reconnecting with the grassroots. And they're waiting for somebody to come to them.
Absolutely.
And embrace them and acknowledge them. Not the candidates running, both Democrat and Republican, they're not doing that. And
not at all.
That is the advantage that he has. That's where he's going to go. You don't have to ask. That is exactly where he's going to go. He's going to run a grassroots campaign, and it will be successful.
I think so.
Well, amen. Amen, Brother Bill.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll take the gold star for the day.
Thank you.
Thank
See,
you.
this is it. This is it. The Democratic Party has created its own cleavage with its base. They're not acting like they're excited about going out and talking to the grassroots, which is where victory is. They're talking about all kinds of stuff except the issues that concern the grassroots, the working class people. That's exactly, well, I'm talking as if I know for sure, but that's exactly where I see Deval Patrick heading. And that's where I think he sees victory, to reconnect the party with the base that it has long since jettisoned. They're not talking to poor people. They're not talking about poor people's issues, working class issues, except we have Sanders making a valiant effort. But let's be real clear. I'm talking about people of color. I'm talking about black people in the inner cities, which is where the bread and butter of the Democratic Party always has been for decades. And when it comes time for elections, they just simply don't have a strong bond anymore. They're not connected. I see Deval Patrick seeing the value of that base that has been neglected and ignored. And I see that that could be the biggest difference between winning and losing a political campaign. It was the same thing for Barack Obama. Barack Obama could not have won the election. And he could not have retained another 8 years, another 4 years to make 8 years, without understanding where the currency was. The currency is where it always has been. And it is the Democratic Party that failed to embrace it and pay attention to it and to deliver for it. Now, that is the lesson. I am willing to bet my last penny on this, that Deval Patrick and hopefully some advisors have studied the omissions, the gross omissions of the Democratic Party over time. And this is at the top of the list. The Democratic Party has negated its base, its true base. The Democratic Party has failed to deliver for its base. The Democratic Party, in a sense, then, you could say, simply got used to exploiting its base, treating them no differently from any other party. I come to see you when I need you. After that, well, we'll see you in another 4 years. They don't have, we talk about it all the time, they're not maintaining connection with the political base that has consistently delivered victory for them. They're not talking about the issues, the bread and butter issues, the poverty issues, the quality of life issues that people want to know about in terms of what the Democratic Party has to say about it, what it's going to do. They forgot about that. Deval Patrick has found the perfect way to enter this race and to stay in this race and to get to victory in this race. Go back to your roots. Go talk to your people. Let them know you are cranking up again. And in this turn, you are going to look to them. Listen to what I'm about to say. You're going to look to them for your leadership. All right, now, I'm sounding like I'm preaching. But that is where victory will be had. And I am sure, I can feel it, I can read it in his mind. He knows what he has to do. He has to do what the party hasn't been doing in order to reconnect to the base that has always been faithful to this party. that has always delivered for the party, but the party just, has a wishy-washy relationship with them. That's why I'm excited, because we're going to see, because he's going to have to go there, some old-fashioned politics. You got to get out there. You got to walk the walk and talk the talk. You have to reinvigorate communities that were abandoned by this party in favor of more desirable parties with communities with greater profiles. When this is where your fortune is. All right. Gino from New York, you're on the air.
Good day, Utrice.
Hello, how are you?
Pretty good, thank you. I had to stop my making of carrot juice, celery, and ginger to make a phone call. I'm going to have to really clean that machine waiting for 20 minutes.
Well, hey, it was worth it.
Well, let's see. Well, first of all, everybody's always asking over time, how you doing? Hope you're doing good. You're saying, hanging in there, which is an expression actually I don't like, but given the history of this country. But I wanted to know, before we get into the political thing, because you once said the biggest political thing we could do is keep our health going against these people who are trying to squash it out. The protocol you were given 6 years ago, say 1 to 10, what degree of it do you still follow?
What?
When I saved your life. The protocol that was given to you when you were told you were going to pass away from the doctors, and you followed the protocol of health with Gary's advice and various doctors, what degree of it, at a 1 to 10, do you still follow to this day?
I'm still following it.
100%?
Well, I'm down to about 90.
Okay. Well, that's pretty good. I've always had that on my mind, because people just say, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. And they don't take it that next level with opening up the petals to get a little more penetrating. And,
but I would be very, very frank in telling you, as I tell everybody, I have no illusions about this disease called cancer. It is a killer.
Yeah.
The best you can do is hold it off.
Well, you've been knocking her out of the ring, so just keep it out there and stay with that. And the positive people, I don't know if you meditate, but that's something a good way. Although I remember when you were dealing with it, I was mopping the floor. I had to put the mop down to write you a response, because you made me laugh and you made me get teary-eyed with your speaking practically from the hospital bed and the way you were very calm and the way you spoke about, what you were going through. And I was very moved by that, and it told me a lot about your upbringing and you adhering to a lot of it with your parents. So I'm still touched by that.
Well, thank you. In fact, I did. On the very day that I received my diagnosis, I did my program from the hospital bed.
Yeah.
I think it was important that people know. We shouldn't be hesitant about these things. We should share this kind of information so that...
Amen. That's what I would like to hear more of. I would like to hear more of that for the people who are new, who don't know what you went through. Don't take it for granted that the newcomers are coming in with larger numbers, that they don't know what you went through, what you did. If you could get on, somebody along those lines, or somebody who's been there, who's had MS, or who couldn't remember where to shop or what their name was, and they can... Once in a while, it'd be nice to hear one of those. It don't have to be just on Gary's show. I mean, there's some people listening to your show may not hear his show, or hear that segment when he comes along with it, with the people who actually recovered, that these things are not impossible to overcome. So that's one thing. So the other thing is, I have to say, I don't know much about Deval, Mr. Deval. Your enthusiasm for somebody who doesn't like to vote because there's not much good there for you, that's something that makes my eyes open a little more. However, just to get a base going and the people to vote for him, as with Obama, isn't enough. I'm very concerned where he gets his money, because that'll tell you where he's going to go, how much of the walk will he do after the talk.
Because I did not vote for Obama.
Well, congratulations. I got fooled the first time.
I did not.
Yeah, well, you did more homework than me.
I did not vote for Obama.
Yeah, well, I'm happy.
Funny about he sent some really wrong messages about
Yeah.
where his head was at politically, and I strongly disagreed with it. So I just couldn't see myself supporting his candidacy or voting for him.
Yeah, I
Both
can understand that
times.
retrospect. Yeah, I should have been a little more aware myself. That's why whoever's coming along, we have to be more scrutinizing and make sure they're doing the walking the talk even before they get in there. The other thing is, and I got to say, I love most of your shows. What your enthusiasm, your sincerity, the way you handle the callers with respect, and so on. And I get to know all these folks calling in after a while. The phone caller from a couple ago, I did feel like he was asking for more information, though, in terms of. I don't think he was dismissing. He just wanted to know a little more, though. Part of him said he wasn't going to check him out, but I guess that's where people on the radio come along and you can help us a little more to look in a certain direction, and though we do have to do additional,
I
research.
happen to have a particular philosophy, and that is don't depend on anybody to make up your mind. This is work you have to do yourself.
Yeah, the more information we get, certainly the better we'll be able
Then
to
go
do.
to the library. There's information all over the place. The one thing we do not lack is information. Go out there and assemble something that gives you a broader understanding or a deeper understanding. But don't wait for me to tell you what to think.
Yeah. Well,
No, I won't do that. I wouldn't tell you what to think.
Well, you're a persuasive person, Treese, with your intellect capacity, and you put things in light, and you go on things. You do pursue it, like peeling back the petals quite a bit. But I just find you know what happened with Max Blumenthal recently, right? The reporter.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a story because Edward Snowden and Julian Assange and the truth tellers and pointing out the crimes of people laughing when people and reporters are being shot at, and then they end up getting put into look like they're being tortured and
but we're off the topic. We're off topic. Let's get back on to topic.
Yeah,
we already took enough time to
for
diversion.
But the excitement you have with him, I would have really hoped that I would have heard a little more about that with Tulsi, who's actually serving in the medical corps, and she does speak out against the wars, the fake wars and
Tulsi
regime change.
Gabbard, I already said it. I don't doubt that she's very sincere. I don't doubt that she's concerned about the country. I don't doubt that she really wants to make a contribution to the entire country. I don't doubt any of that. All I'm saying is she needs to get out. She needs to get out of the race because she's squandering money that she desperately would need if she were to run for some other office. She hasn't in all of this time gone beyond 1%.
No, she went up to 6% in New Hampshire recently because she's going after Hillary. Went after her, sees her as such a threat, and Hillary sees her as a threat. She came back. She's actually going to sue them for defamation of character, trying to put her as
about in the national polls. In national polls, I don't see that she has gone beyond 1%.
Well, recently it went to 6. So things happen, but especially with the attention coming on. With her talking about reveal the information with 9/11 and the family she's with and the lies that are going on with Saudi Arabia.
All of this.
Who's talking about that besides her?
I am saying just the same. And we should not disillusion ourselves. Your campaign is about to shut down at any moment because you can't sustain it.
I don't see that. When you go from 1% to 6%, it seems like it's growing to me. I mean, I don't know how you could say it.
You cannot run a national campaign and expect that people will have absolute confidence in your campaign when your numbers are so low.
Well, she gets even on Fox. She's not afraid to debate on Fox, and they handle her.
It's not about that. Understand me well. I could debate anybody, but can I run? No.
I don't know. In a democracy, I mean, people should be able to run. Like this
useless.
fella, I don't know about this fella. I know about
It's
Tulsi, and you're
wasting
promoting
time
him.
and it's wasting resources and giving people false hope. The correct thing to do when you see you are at a point of no return or getting close to it, bow out gracefully and give people instruction. Let them know what is on your mind as the next move you're going to make. But don't keep stringing out a situation that is not going to get better. It's not going to improve your chances of winning. And that's what politics is. You win or you don't.
Yeah. Well, you see, Elizabeth, she became a Democrat at 47.
I'm not
Tulsi's
talking
been
about
there.
any of them now. I'm talking about the subject we had. We're way off, so let's get back on
What if
track.
Bernie would have picked her as a running mate and something happened to him? You know, things change. You can't have that.
Fine.
You know,
When they
keep
change,
the faith.
you will know. But
okay.
I am going on what I have observed, because I track the polls as well. You're not doing any good with a waning campaign. It's not doing anybody any good. When you reach a point where you know you're not going to arrive at a point of critical mass anytime soon, shut it down. Say, we thank you. I will continue to need your counsel and your support as I retool. There's nothing wrong with that. Why does it have to be the case that you must win, even if the tide is against you? If you find that you're in a situation where you cannot get out of it,
I hear you reiterating, but I see the tide rising. I haven't given up hope in her.
But you're not a tactician.
Well,
you're not a political tactician.
I'm just an intuitive, sensitive person whose intelligence sees that somebody's standing up for values that have been abandoned.
I'm saying that it is the smarter thing to do to gracefully bow out. That doesn't mean that you cannot retool and come back at another time. But this is not your time. Everything is telling you that.
Well, I guess she's seen too many bloody bodies to just pull away when she won't pull away from battlefield, to pull away from intellectual interactions.
This is very simple. You see where things are going. Stop the hemorrhaging. Stop the bleeding.
Well, we'll have to agree to disagree on this one.
Save what you can. Build, rebuild, and come back stronger, smarter, and better equipped to wage a winning campaign. Right now, you're not doing it.
And yesterday, to bring up Rice...
but we got to go. I have to reach out to other people who are waiting. Thank you so much. Henry from Chicago, you're on the air.
Hey, Trace, how's it going?
Okay, how's by you?
All right. Just like with the previous callers, my ears kind of perked up the way you talk about, Deval Patrick. And, Deval is, he was raised in his younger years in Chicago, so I know a little bit about him. Actually, I know one of his elementary school teachers personally. So, but I'm going to say this up front. I don't think he has a chance, but I understand the question of the query that you're talking about in regards to him entering the race being something that might be good, because of the fact that these Democratic candidates that's currently in here, they have no shot at Trump. And I personally, I don't think Deval either, but he's a wild card. Because of the fact that, he's entering the race when everybody else just kind of bludgeoned each other. And now Biden is weakened, who is supposed to be the favorite. But I think the most important thing for, Mr. Patrick, if he's going to seriously win this race, is to get out the primaries. Because you have to understand this. the Democratic Party, which he's going to be, running under, is still a corrupt political party. There might be some elements in there that might not want him to succeed. And so he has to have some sort of base around him to protect him from these things. Because we saw it in the primaries in 2016 with Bernie Sanders, how they basically blatantly cheated him out of the Democratic ticket. But that's the one thing that I say he has to worry about, and who in the Democratic Party is going to betray him.
Well, you said it as if you don't think that he knows or suspects that this is the situation, this is a dilemma that he's got to work with.
Yeah, I mean,
he knows.
He knows. I definitely know he knows. But the thing is that what is he going to do about it to prevent that? That's the interesting thing.
I'll give you what I think is my simple answer. People of color are really very, very valuable political currency. Everybody knows it. But the mainstream political party, I'm talking about the Democratic Party, has gotten away with, not paying attention because they think black people have no place else to go. Latinos have no place else to go. So you can take a lot of chances feeling fairly confident that there's no price to pay. And it has worked out to be true. This Democratic Party has done so much violence to what is supposed to be its base, ignoring them, ignoring their issues, not even coming into their communities, except acting as if they're doing a grand favor to pay you a visit. But if you, as a candidate, were to turn that one thing around, you're unbeatable. If you were to tell people how much value their vote and their support means, if you were to really connect in a realistic way, if you were to profess openly that you cannot succeed without their support, and that's why you want it, and you want it more than anybody else, you'll see the tables turning around. They'll support you.
Well,
but the Democratic Party is treating these communities like they're nothing, that they have no value.
And it just goes back to my point about it being a very corrupt organization. So I just feel like I'm just interested to find out what is his strategy to prevent him from being knocked off by his own party in a dirty, corrupt way, because I just kind of feel like, and like you said, and I believe it too, he knows it's coming. So my question is, what is he going to do to prevent that?
He has got to work hard and fast at forging authentic relationships with the communities that the party abandoned. He's going to have to turn the party around that way. And believe me, it's like, people to this day still can't figure out the relationship between black communities all over the country and Adam Clayton Powell. If he needed help, they were there, because he was there all the time. Well, we've run out of time, speaking of which, but we could continue some of this tomorrow. Thank you so much. I'm so happy today because there has been a change, a small one, but let's hope it becomes a big one. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.